All right, looks like we got ourselves a nice little lively bunch here today. It's a special Saturday show for you folks. I told you that if yesterday you ran those likes up to over 100 likes, that yours truly, Mr. CJ, Chef Curry himself, would be here Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And I am a man of my word. As you can see, it's me live and in living color and in the flesh. So I appreciate you doing your part, running those likes up to over 100 likes yesterday. Let's see if we can do it again. We've done it 3 days in a row now. Can we make it a four-peat? We've completed the three-peat, but can we make it a four-peat? Let's see. It's all up to you guys. I appreciate your support, though. Thanks for being here. Guys, it's the CJ Curry Show. It's presented by PrizePicks. PrizePicks, making daily fantasy simple. You pick anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 6 of your favorite superstars from your favorite sports. Decide whether or not they're going to go for more or less, and you can win up to 25 times your money on a 6-pick flex. If you don't use PrizePicks yet, guys, get signed up. Use code Curry. 100% instant deposit match up to $100 is waiting for you. I've left the link down in the description below. Get down there. Get signed up for PrizePicks. Had a pretty big day yesterday when it came to the MLB pitching props. So I went fantasy score only. Posted it to Patreon. Ended up going 6 for 6. 25 times my money, turned 20 bucks into 500 bucks. So it was a fantastic night for yours truly and those who tailed that 6-pick flex. Yesterday's show, we did put together a 5 out of 6. Came really close. I think the only one that sold us short was Josh Giddey on those rebounds and assists. But we had like Karl Anthony Towns under 4.5 dimes. We had Taurean Prince over 1.5 three-point makes. We had, what else? Jalen Williams over points and rebounds, Jaylin, that Jalen. So we had a number of different picks kind of come out of yesterday's show. Kobe White over points and rebounds. That was another one. So let's see if we can get back to it today. We've got a game that starts in less than 1 hour. So maybe we'll try to tackle some picks specifically from that game, being that it's going to tip off here soon. And then we'll work our way into some of the games that are taking place later on in the day. Does that sound like a good plan to you? Let me know. Hit the like button if you like that. All right. What we got to do first, though, is pick a winner. You know that I'm giving away a risk-free 2-pick power play every single day to one of the commenters from our replay. So you got to be a subscriber. You got to like the videos, and you got to comment. Go to the replay of today's show. Comment down in the comment section, and you can get your hands on a risk-free 2-pick power play on PrizePicks. You get both of those picks right. PrizePicks gives you $100 in your account instantly. So those of you who are always out on Twitter, I see you guys. You're like, where's the promo, PrizePicks? When you gonna airdrop me, PrizePicks? They're not gonna do that, but I will. They've chosen me. I'm the PrizePicks lead ambassador to bless you guys with some free entries, which then in turn could lead to money in your PrizePicks account. So I'm gonna be the vessel, so to speak, to bless you guys with some risk-free two-pick power plays that will end up as a $100 bill in your pocket. So let's go ahead and pick some people from yesterday's show. We had a total of 20 comments from yesterday's replay. Yesterday's show, the one with Carl Anthony Towns in the thumbnail. Yeah, that was yesterday's show. So shout out to everybody who commented. Hopefully you're all subscribed. Hopefully you all have liked, and hopefully those who are watching for the very first time jump on board here as we march toward 10,000 subscribers here on the channel. All right, all we got to do now, hit the start button. It is going to randomly select one of you from the comments section, and it looks like it is none other than Snoop a Loop. Snoop a Loop, congratulations, my friend. You have won yourself a risk-free two-pick power play on PrizePicks. Again, you just got to get the two-pick right. Both picks have to hit. If you do, they're going to give you $100. So congratulations to Snoop a Loop. I don't know if you're watching live. Maybe you're catching me on the replay. Snoop a Loop, you got to send me a DM. I need your PrizePicks email address, my friend, so that I can hook you up with that risk-free two-pick power play. And to anybody out there who's waiting for their risk-free two-pick power play, it's coming soon. All right, my primary contact at PrizePicks has been out of the office, so that's why there's a little bit of a hold up, a delay, but they're coming. I always pay my debts, just like the Lannisters on Game of Thrones. Shout out to my Game of Thrones fans out there. Already up to 38 likes. We got 91 people watching. That's about a third of you. The math ain't mathing on that. I need you guys to bump those likes up. All right, let's get those likes up. All right, we got to go through today's slate real quick. Brooklyn at Philadelphia is our first playoff game of the day. I'm excited for the playoffs, my friends, and I think you should be too. Brooklyn and Philly should be fun. We have some narratives mixed in there. Guys, we had Mikal Bridges, who was once drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers and then traded away. We got James Harden, who was once on the Brooklyn Nets. Now he's with Philadelphia. So there's a lot of little narratives intertwined here that should make things rather interesting with this game. If those of you who like a good story, you got some stories to kind of stay on top of here, right? 214 points is the total, 8.5 point spread. It favors the Philadelphia 76ers. So this is your first game of the day. We'll try to tackle some picks from this game, being that it tips off here in less than an hour. So let's move quickly through these games. 3:30 Atlanta at Boston. This one's got a 231 point total. It's favoring the C's, the Boston Celtics, the guys in green. 9.5 point spread. Boston expected to blow out the Atlanta Hawks. We'll just have to wait and see how that works out. Former Atlanta Hawk Danilo Gallinari still out. He's been out all season. He is the only piece of injury news from either side of this game. So no injuries for Atlanta. Gallinari, the only injury for the Boston Celtics, but he's been out all year, so that doesn't really matter too much. Moving on to the next game, New York at Cleveland tips off at 6 o'clock tonight, Eastern time. Pretty low scoring game here. Again, 217.5 points, 5.5 point spread. I think you're going to see some lower totals. Teams tend to really ramp up their defense come playoff time. So you might see them play at a slower pace. You might see fewer points on the total. You might see lower stat lines overall as a result. So we'll have to see how things play out. As of this moment, Jalen Brunson is back for the New York Knicks. I think they were getting him some rest as they were headed to the playoffs. You got Julius Randle, though, listed as a game time decision. I'm not sure if Randle's going to play tonight or not. The Knicks could really use Julius Randle, although he does not have the most favorable matchup going against both Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. So it could be a tough night, even if Randle does decide to play. Now on the Cleveland side, you've got Isaac Okoro listed as a game time decision. Dylan Windler is out. If Okoro can't go, you'll probably see some more of like Lamar Stevens, Karis LeVert in that rotation, maybe a little bit of Ricky Rubio coming in off the bench. So that's kind of what you have to expect from that game, which brings us to probably my most anticipated favorite game of tonight's games, Golden State versus Sacramento. This one tips off at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So shout out to everybody on the East Coast. You don't have to stay up till after midnight to watch a West Coast basketball game. Thank you, basketball gods. We appreciate you for that. Golden State at Sacramento, though, 237.5 point total with just a 0.5 spread, less than a point spread. This could very well be an overtime style game. This could be one of those games where you want to target maybe some more of the overplays in this one. Andrew Wiggins is back for the Golden State Warriors. That's the biggest piece of injury news. Wiggins has been out extended absence. He's back tonight, though, and he's going to be in the starting lineup. How many minutes he'll play is really up in the air. We're not real sure. You know how Steve Kerr kind of babies some of these veterans. I don't know if he's been keeping in shape. I don't know if he's got his wind and his legs underneath him. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm probably going to take a wait and see approach on Andrew Wiggins. Not going to play too many of his player props tonight. But Andre Iguodala is out, and the Steph Curry stopper himself, Matthew Dellavedova, is out. Those of you who remember that Golden State Warriors Cleveland Cavaliers series, Dellavedova, man, did a pretty good job against Steph Curry in that series, but he's going to be out tonight. So this one's probably going to be my most anticipated, the game I'm looking forward to watching the most. Very nice total here, highest total of all the 4 games and the closest spread. So I think this one could possibly ooze some overs or more here on PrizePicks. So that's your 4 games right there in a nutshell. 4 games, pretty healthy though for an NBA slate. I think going forward, you'll see like 2 to 3 games, maybe even 1 game. They're going to try and spread these games out so we have something to watch, something to bet on every single night as we head into the playoffs. So appreciate everybody being here. I see you guys are already dropping a lot of questions. I see you folks are already posting some picks and plays. We're going to take a look at those in just 1 minute. But you know how we like to start the show. We like to start it by going to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. This tool, fantastic, has absolutely changed the game. And I think it'll change the game for you as far as playing on PrizePicks and some of the other sites out there. So I wanted to refresh the optimizer first and foremost. We want to make sure we're getting the latest and greatest lines and data and information pulled in here. And then what I'm going to do is take a look at the very first game. So I want to filter this out by the teams that are playing here at 1 o'clock, which are the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. Now they've got a couple of different formats here. Let me make sure I just select everybody from Brooklyn Nets, Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, we got them all selected here. So these will only be Philadelphia and Brooklyn props. So I want to start there. Maybe we build out a little same game parlay. Maybe we only find 2 or 3 picks that really pass the test and end up in our entries. But I want to go through these first and foremost, and then we'll get to your super chats. We'll get to your questions. I appreciate all the super chats, guys. If you want to help support the channel, you want to be featured on today's show and have your comment highlighted in the live chat window, feel free to leave a super chat. It guarantees that you get one-on-one support from yours truly. I'll go over your favorite pick, prop, or play of the day, and we'll look at it in depth, in detail, and try to get you on the right side of that, more or less on PrizePicks, okay? Over 116 people watching on a Saturday. I love that, but we got to get those likes up. 51 likes, over 100 of you watching. Come on, we're trying to go for 100 likes for the 4th show in a row. Show your support. It costs you nothing to hit that like button, all right? Let's get down to business. Let's roll up our sleeves and see what we've got here. DeAnthony Melton is one that's really popping off here on the optimizer. DeAnthony Melton for under 8.5 points. 53.4% chance, according to the optimizer, for Melton to have 8 or fewer points tonight. Again, taking on the Brooklyn Nets. What do we think about this one? Just, not looking at any data projections or anything like that. Are we liking Melton for more or less than 8.5 points? I mean, he's had a pretty big role at times this season, but Philadelphia is healthier now than they've ever been. So maybe his role will diminish and his minutes might dry up a little bit, being that it's playoff time. Doc Rivers might tighten up those rotations a little bit. You may see fewer minutes for guys like Melton off the bench. We've seen Furkan Korkmaz kind of start to emerge off the bench for Philadelphia. So maybe Melton doesn't have as big of a role today as we might think. But let's go take a look at some projections on Melton. First thing I always do is make sure that the play is a plus EV play. I want that positive expected value, and I want to know that I'm getting my money in good, that the odds are in my favor. In this case with Melton, they definitely are in our favor. Almost a 54% chance that he stays under 8.5 points. And so once I know it's a plus EV play, I go and check a couple of different projection models. And this first projection model is one provided by Action Labs. Yes, you have to pay for this one, but since you know me, you get a little sneak preview here live on the show. So we're going to take a look at the projections on Action Labs. They got him projected for 7.4 points on a line of 8.5. So that is a good first look. The optimizer said take the under or less. The projections agreeing with the optimizer. Those are the types of plays and picks that I look for. So that's a good first projection, but I don't stop at just one projection. No, not me. Come on. Who do you think I am? Some kind of schmuck? We go and we find ourselves a second projection. This second projection model is RotoWire. You got to pay for this one too. But again, since you know me, you kind of get the hookup here, right? I give you a little sneak preview, pull back the curtain a little bit, and you can see that D'Anthony Melton's line is 8.5 points on PrizePicks, projected for just 6.6 according to RotoWire. So that's 2 for 2 on projection models here. They both like D'Anthony Melton to go under 8.5 points. So let's cap this thing off here. Now this one is free. You could go check this one out for yourself. It is known as Numberfire. Numberfire, completely free. They offer free fantasy score projections, single stat player prop projections. So they have a little bit of everything. So they project Melton to play about 25 minutes and to have about 7.5 points in those 25 minutes of game time. So 3 for 3 on the models, all liking Melton for less than 8.5 points today. We know it's a plus EV play. We know that he's projecting to go under 8.5 points. So, I mean, we're getting our money in good. You know, we can't control how many points Melton scores. We can't control the outcome, but we can do our due diligence, our research. And in this case, it would suggest that we go under on Melton at 8.5 points. 3 different models, all liking him to go under. He's a plus EV play to go under. What else can we do? What else can we do in this case? All right. Roy is saying it's super risky on such a low point line. Well, okay. Tay's saying you might want to fade the rotation players. You might want to. For me, I'm going to just ride with the numbers as I always do and let the chips fall where they may. So I'm going to stay with Melton. I'm going to leave him in my entry. If you don't like Melton for less than 8.5 points, don't take him. Okay. It's your money. You be responsible and do the right thing, okay? Whatever you think the right thing may be. Let's run through some of these other picks here. We got Royce O'Neal. I saw somebody in our Patreon Discord mentioning Royce O'Neal at 2.5 assists earlier. Guys, that's a pretty low line for a guy that should be getting about 30 plus minutes today. 53.2% chance. The optimizer gives this one to go over 2.5 dimes. So we're looking for 3 or more assists for Royce O'Neal in this one. So let's go check out some projections here on Royce and see if the over, the under, the more or the less is the way we should be going here. Well, we're seeing a lot of juice on these sports books at 2.5 dimes. I'm talking about like minus 130, minus 140, even as high as minus 144 odds to go over on a site like FanDuel. So you got a first projection of 3.2. That's definitely more than 2.5. Liking that one. Off to a good start. Let's check a couple of other projections. Here's a 3.2 on a line of 2.5. That's 2 for 2 on the over. And just for fun, just for poops and giggles, we'll call it, he's projected for 3.4 on a third projection model here on Numberfire. So that's 3 for 3. Once again, just like D'Anthony Melton, 3 for 3 on the projection models. We know it's a plus EV play already thanks to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. If you guys want to get your hands on this optimizer, go down to the description of today's video. I've left a link down there. Click that link, use code Curry, save yourself a few bucks, all right, and get started. This tool gets you in on the picks before the picks get bumped up and bumped down like PrizePicks likes to do, all right? So I think we can feel pretty confident here about taking Royce O'Neal over 2.5 assists. Are you liking this one more or less, better or worse than D'Anthony Melton's points? You guys let me know, but I think so far we've got 2 solid ones. I mean, once again, mathematically speaking, the odds are in our favor, right? They are plus EV plays. Projection wise, 3 different models. We run them through 3 different models and they're all projecting well. Outside of that, I'm not going to try and outthink these advanced projection models. I'm not trying to outthink the sports books and the lines makers out there. No, I'm letting them do the work for me in this case. I'm not smarter than these guys. I'm going to keep it real. I'm not smarter than these lines makers. So why would I go against the grain and say I'm going to take the under on Royce O'Neal because I don't know, he's a role player. I don't know why we would do that. No, I'm going to be on the right side of the math. I'm going to be on the right side of the odds. I'm going to be on the right side of the projections, and I'm going to take the over on Royce O'Neal. So there's 2 picks from this first game that tips off at 1 o'clock, guys. What are we thinking so far? Yay, nay? Hot, cold on those? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. All right, we got another one here. Another plus EV play, a 53% chance that Tobias Harris of the Sixers stays under 5.5 rebounds. All right, under 5.5 rebounds, 53% chance according to the odds. So let's go take a look at Tobias Harris's projections here at 5.5 boards. Harris projected for 6.1. So the optimizer says take the under, but we've got a solid projection of 6.1, which would go against the grain, go against the optimizer. So I'm not liking that. Let's check some other projections here. 5.5 is the line, 6.1's the projection. Okay, well, that's two projections that are going against the optimizer. I don't like that. That doesn't jive well with me, so I'm going to skip over that one, leave that one alone. Let's go to this next one, though. How about Nick Claxton at 9.5 rebounds? Again, the optimizer saying take the under here. 52.7% chance that he stays at 9 or fewer rebounds going up against Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. All right, and again, the way that it comes up with these, the percentage to hit, right? It goes out and it looks at the lines on the different sports books. It removes the VIG from those lines and gives us a true odds for a pick to go over or under. And that's what this minus 129 here would suggest. So those are the true odds for it to go under at 9.5 rebounds. So let's go get a projection on Nick Claxton here. Maybe Claxton gets into some foul trouble. Maybe he gets a little handsy with Joel Embiid today. That very well could be a situation that happens. Claxton projected for exactly 9.5 boards. Well, that doesn't really help us out much. Let's go get some other projections then. 9.5 here. Ooh, projected for nearly 12 rebounds according to RotoWire. All right, so we got like one push, one projection saying take the over. Let's go check Number Fire real quick. I'm curious now if they're going to have Claxton going for more or less on 9.5 rebounds. They got him going for more at 9.9. So again, this is kind of going against the grain, against the odds, against the optimizer. I'm not into that, so I'm going to leave this one alone and we'll keep moving on here and try to find a better pick. Spencer Dinwiddie over 3.5 rebounds. That seems like a very doable number for a guy like Dinwiddie who should be playing, 36 plus minutes as long as this game stays close and competitive. As long as it stays competitive, Dinwiddie at 3.5 boards, he needs 4 or more. So let's go take a look at some projections for Dinwiddie. Maybe this one is a solid for us. 4.2, okay, that's a great first projection on a line of 3.5. Let's check a second projection. This projection model has him at 4.1, again on a line of 3.5 on PrizePicks. So we're 2 for 2 so far. And once again, we're going to go and check a third projection for Spencer Dinwiddie, which has him at 4.2 according to Number Fire. So we got 3 models all in agreement. Dinwiddie at 4 more boards. Looks like a good move. So we can add him to our 2 pick that we have so far. It will go over to the PrizePicks board. This game starts in about 32 minutes, my friends. So got a little time to get these in or to think about these a little further if you so choose. But here's what we got so far. All of these are plus EV. All of these are projecting in our favor according to 3 different reliable, trusted projection models. Okay, so Melton under points, O'Neal over assists, and Dinwiddie over rebounds. That's what we've got. 3 picks from this game. All right. Let's see if there's anything else from this first game that's standing out. I'm just scrolling through here, seeing if anything jumps out. I'm skipping over, by the way, guys, I'm skipping over any picks that have already been bumped up or bumped down. In other words, the ones that are missing the hook, whether they've been rounded up or rounded down, I don't want those in my entry. I want clean wins, clean losses. I don't want my 6 pick to become a 5 pick, my 5 pick to become a 4 pick. I try to avoid picks that will do that. So that's why you see me skipping over some of this stuff. What about Mikal Bridges? He's at 2.5 dimes. We talked about him going against the Philadelphia 76ers, the team that once upon a time drafted this young man into the league. At 2.5 dimes, it looks like we have about a 52.1% chance of Bridges recording at least 3 assists today. So let's go see some projections on Mikal Bridges. Hold your questions. Hold your super chats if you got them. I'm definitely going to get to you guys in just one moment. I just want to dig in through the first page of this first game and see, if there's any picks out there that we should really be watching out for. Mikal Bridges, 2.9 dimes on a line of 2.5. That's very close to 3. Of course, we would need at least 3 from Bridges or better for him to hit the over for us. So that one's looking good. Let's check out another projection on Mikal Bridges. 2.5 is the line, 3.7 projected assists on RotoWire. So that one's looking good. And then let's cap this thing off. We'll go for a third projection on Mikal Bridges here. Mikal Bridges at 3.5 assists. Again, his line is sitting at 2.5. So what more can we do? Okay, what more can we ask for? It's a plus EV play. It's projecting well across 3 different sites. Mikal Bridges for more than 2.5 assists. That's 4 plays, all plus EV, all projecting favorably. Now, does this guarantee that they're going to all hit? Of course not, silly. Of course not, silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids. But what we have done is at least put ourselves in a favorable spot, in a position where we're getting our money in good. The odds are in our favor. The math behind the odds are in our favor. The projections are in our favor. We cannot control what these guys do. We cannot guarantee that they're going to do what the optimizer thinks they're going to do, or that the projection models think they're going to do. But we've set ourselves up for success at the very least. Okay, there you go. Out of these 4 guys, which one are you liking the most out of these 4? Let me know in the chat. Maybe your opinion, maybe your 2 cents matters to somebody else who's watching here. Let's take the temperature of the chat. We got D'Anthony Melton for less than 8.5 points, O'Neal over 2.5 assists, Dinwiddie over 3.5 boards, and Bridges over 2.5 assists. Out of all of these 4 so far, which ones are you guys thinking has the best chance of actually coming through? Maybe it's one of them. Maybe it's 2 of them. Maybe all 4 of them end up coming through. We don't know. We don't know. We're guessing. I see a lot of love for Royce O'Neal's assists so far. Dion is also liking Bridges for over his assists. Seeing a lot of love for Spencer Dinwiddie and Royce O'Neal. Light says, what are your favorites? They're all my favorites. I mean, they're all projecting favorably. They're all plus EV plays. Hell if I know which one's going to actually hit or not hit. I gave you the percentage of, what the chances are that they'll hit. I could recap that for you. Like D'Anthony Melton, according to the odds, has the best chance of hitting out of all of these projections, or out of all of these picks. 53.4% on Melton. 53.2% on O'Neal. Dinwiddie, 52.7%, we'll call it. We'll just round that up a little bit. And then Bridges, 52.1%. I don't have to tell you what my favorite is, because what I would answer that question with is like, well, I would say my favorite, I guess, is the one that has the highest percentage chances to hit. I guess that would be my favorite, which would be D'Anthony Melton under points. I mean, just going based strictly off the odds, who cares what I think? I'm a numbers-driven guy. I want to make data-driven decisions, and in this case, D'Anthony Melton, I guess, would be the favorite because math. So I don't know. There you go. Colin says, I took your slip from yesterday and didn't use Giddy because I had him in another slip and he ended up 10xing his money. Well, congratulations to you. Yeah, we put that 6 pick together. We had some Wolves in there, some Bulls, some Thunder players, and I think we ended up going 5 for 6 and doubling up on that one from yesterday. So, all right. Well, now that you guys kind of know what the rest of the chat, the viewers who are watching live, think about these picks. I mean, we've got ourselves 4 strong ones. We could go same game parlay with this. I think we've kind of like tapped out our initial look here. There might be a couple more. Let me just make sure I'm going through all of them here. You also got Royce O'Neal over on points, but because we already have Royce O'Neal in there for his assists, and that one's got the higher percentage to hit, I'm going to skip over him. You've also got Royce O'Neal over 4.5 rebounds. Again, we've got O'Neal over assists. That's got the higher chances to hit. What about Embiid over 14.5 rebounds and assists? This one's got about a 52.1% chance to hit. Maybe we continue down the same game parlay path here and look at Joel Embiid at 14.5 rebounds and assists. Let's go pull some projections for this one. I am kind of curious. 15.7 on a line of 14.5. That is a very good first projection for the process, Joel Embiid. So 15.7 on a line of 14.5. Like what I'm seeing there. Let's go through a couple of these other projection sites. 14.5 again is the line. 16.2 is the projection on RotoWire. So that's two very solid projections on a line of 14.5. Let's go for a third here, a third one. Embiid sitting at 11.5 rebounds plus 4.4 assists. That's a 15.9 projection on NumberFire for the 14.5 rebounds and assists for Joel Embiid. So we could add this one to our same game parlay if we want as well. So you could go back over here to PrizePicks, click Embiid, click more, and then you've got yourself a nice little 5-pick flex entry to win 10 times your money. What do you guys think about that one? Embiid over 14.5 rebounds and assists. You with it or against it? Yay or nay? Maybe you're just going to fade it and leave it alone completely. That's always a move too. That's definitely always an option. Anything else here? Let's see. The only other one that maybe, well, we could look at these bottom two here. These both have less than a 52% chance to hit. So they're definitely not the most optimal or most plus EV plays on the board, but still we can look at both of them. Nick Claxton for less than 14.5 points and assists, and Cam Johnson for less than 15.5 points. Let's go see how both of these are projecting here on various sites. So we got Claxton projected for 15.1. All right, I'm going to leave that one alone. What about Cam Johnson, though, at 15.5 points? Looks like a 16.6. Okay, I'm just going to leave those two alone. They're both projecting to go over, even though the optimizer is suggesting we take the under. So I think we found 5 really solid picks here. I'm okay with just letting it sit at 5. We don't need to push it to 6. If it ain't there, we ain't got to force it. So I'm going to go ahead and put, what would I be happy with winning? Let's put 1903 on this. If we get 10 times payout on this same game parlay, we'll turn it into $190.30. I'm okay with that. We'll go with that. You guys do what you want to do. Maybe there's only 1, 2, 3 of these picks that you're really, really liking. You don't have to feel pressured to take all 5. But as you can see, I did. I put my money where my mouth is. Not every YouTube creator does that, by the way. I don't know if you guys noticed. Some of these guys will like highlight them. They'll have them selected for more or less, but they never click place entry. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, all right? I'm not just here blowing smoke. So there we go. There's a 5 pick for you. Those are probably your best 5 options from this first game. All of these picks have not been bumped up, have not been bumped down. They cannot push, they cannot tie. These are clean wins, clean losses. So if you like those types of picks, well then you've got 5 of them right here. They're all plus EV, they're all projecting favorably. Again, we can only control so much, but that's what we got. Those 5. Take what you like, leave the rest. 2 pick. Maybe you go 2 pick. Maybe you run a 4 pick power play. I don't know. Get crazy, get weird. Do whatever you want to do, okay? There you go. That's your first entry. All right, now we can open up the board, open up the optimizer to the rest of the games, okay? And I'm going to start taking your questions now. And we'll start looking at some of these picks together. Got about 30 minutes for that first game to tip off, all right? And then your next game doesn't start until about 3:40 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be Atlanta at Boston. So let's open the board up. Let's open the optimizer up to all the games now that we've kind of touched on the best plays from that very first game. 5 solid options. Hopefully you guys take a couple of those and hopefully they end up hitting, all right? So let's refresh the optimizer. Let's run through some of these super chats. I see you guys have some super chats ready here. Those of you who super chatted, I appreciate it. Let me scroll through and get back to those. Starting with Everyday Fantasy. Oh, it looks like I touched on a couple of the picks. My bad. Didn't mean to steal your thunder, Everyday Fantasy. But yeah, we We definitely touched on a couple of these picks that Everyday Fantasy dropped off in that super chat. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. So he was liking the Dinwiddie over 3.5 boards. We took that one. Bridges over 2.5 assists. We took that one. The only one we did not discuss is Barnes. 1.5 3-point makes. Of course, we were sticking to the Brooklyn Philly game. So now we're going to open it up. Let's look at Barnes here. I'm assuming he's talking about that's got to be Harrison Barnes, right? Let's go look at his 3-point make and see if that is a plus EV play or not. First and foremost, yes, we can check off that box that Harrison Barnes 3-point make is a plus EV play, but not for the over. In this case, it would be for the under. So I don't know if Everyday Fantasy you are wanting to go over or under on this play, but the optimal way based on the odds from the sports books compared to the PrizePicks lines to play Harrison Barnes and his 3-point prop would be to take the under or less on 1.5. Now, 51.7% chance that he goes under. Is that a super strong percentage? No, not when you have some picks at 53, 54, 55% chance to hit, right? But in this case, 51.78% chance that he goes under based on the odds. So let's go take a look at some projections here on Harrison Barnes. If it's not adding up, we don't have to take it. We can fade it. So here's our first projection on Harrison Barnes at 1.7 3-point makes, going up against his former team, the Golden State Warriors, of course. There's a little narrative, a little story for you guys to kind of gnaw on, chew on. But Barnes is projected for 1.7 on a line of 1.5. Against the optimizer said take the under here, but we've got a projection of 1.7, which is closer to 2 3-point makes than it is 1. So that's kind of scary, right? Let's go see some other projections. Harrison Barnes on RotoWire, 1.57. So just a teeny tiny little bit more or higher than 1.5, right? And then we'll go over to Number Fire real quick. But so far, I'm not liking this pick. Of those 3 that you mentioned, this is probably my least favorite, or the one that to me looks the sketchiest. Here's a projection of 1.7 3-point makes. So 3 different sites all have him going over 1.5, even though the optimal way to go here looks like the under. I'm going to stay away from it. This is going to be a fade for me, but I do like the other 2 picks. We've already discussed those. I appreciate you leaving that super chat as always. That's our guy Don P in Patreon and in Discord. So thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you big time, buddy. All right, we had another super chat come in from another one of our Patreon members. Thank you for the support. Rocket Sauce says, I'm interested in both of these plays over. And both of these are fantasy score, it looks like. So he's talking Mikal Bridges and Tobias Harris. So we're going back to this game that tips off here in about 20 minutes. Brooklyn, Philadelphia. So he's wanting to take Bridges and Tobias Harris both over on their fantasy score. So let's go take a look at these fantasy score options for both of these guys. PrizePicks is pretty cool because they do offer a fantasy score category. Not every site, especially not the sports books, offers fantasy score. So if you like playing fantasy, this is a great way to do it right here on PrizePicks. They are pretty much in line with, I mean, exactly as far as I know, they are exactly in line with how FanDuel scores their fantasy basketball product and how Yahoo scores their fantasy basketball. PrizePicks is one and the same. So if you're looking at projections on a site like, I don't know, Fantasy Labs or Number Fire, make sure you're using FanDuel projections on those sites, okay? For NBA. FanDuel for NBA. Not for all sports. It's different for every sport, but for NBA, it's FanDuel. All right, so Bridges, 38 fantasy score. Tobias Harris, 24.5 fantasy score. Our guy, Everyday Fantasy, says, I'm liking the over on both of these guys. All right, let's go take a look here. Let's go pull some projections up. I should be able to get you at least 3 projections on both of these. So Bridges is at 38. We need 38.1 or more, which is kind of unique with fantasy score. You can have like a 0.1 difference in fantasy score and still clear the over. So Bridges is sitting at 38. We got a projection here of 38.2. That's slightly more than 38, so a little bit of an edge in our favor. Let's go check him out here on Number Fire real quick. We got Mikal Bridges projected for 39.7 fantasy score, again on a line of 38, so that's a 1.7 fantasy score difference. And then finally, Fantasy Labs, they've got a projection for Bridges at 38.1. So that's pretty sharp. That 38 line is pretty sharp. I mean, you're seeing like a 0.1 to maybe 1 point, what do we say, 4 or 7 fantasy score difference. That's a pretty narrow window there. So, I mean, verdict would be, yeah, I guess you would lean toward the over on Mikal Bridges. Is it the strongest play on the board? Probably not. But I mean, based on 3 different projection models, the over looks like the best way to go here for Mikal Bridges. Maybe Tobias Harris is a better play. Let's take a look at him. At 24.5, we can get 24.6 or more and hit the over here on PrizePicks. So let's go pull up some projections on Tobias Harris real quick. 24.5 is the line, guys. We got a projection here of 27.46. That's nearly 3 fantasy score higher than his line of 24.5. So this first projection is very favorable, almost a 3 fantasy score difference versus PrizePicks today. So that one's looking good. Let's see if we have some other projections that sort of align with that projection. 26.4 on a line of 24.5. That's almost 2 fantasy score different. Again, pretty strong projection here if you're thinking about taking the over on Tobias Harris. And then last but not least, we'll go over to Fantasy Labs. They got him at 26.3. Again, that's almost 2 fantasy points higher. So I think for me, of the 2 that you mentioned here, I prefer Tobias Harris for more than 24.5 fantasy score. Again, just going off these projection models. I'm very numbers driven. I'm very data driven. I don't use my gut, my intuition, my brain, or whatever. I don't have a hunch or anything. The sky is blue today, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the less. You know what I mean? I don't do that. I go by the numbers, and you guys saw for yourself. The projection models have Tobias Harris projected favorably. Bridges is going to be probably a little bit more of a sweat, a little bit more of a nail biter. So out of these 2, I would probably say Harris looks the best just based on the projections. You saw him. I saw him. You tell me what you think. All right. So we'll clear those out. Hopefully that helps you out, though, Rocket Sauce. And I hope those picks come through for you, my friend. I want you to make bank. Maybe you 2 pick power those and go for 3x, 3 times your money. All right, let's see. Was there any other super chats that I missed? Doesn't look like it. 165 people watching on a Saturday. God bless you guys. Thanks for the support. Can we get the likes over 100 though? I'm just saying, can we get the likes over 100 though? There's 167 of you watching, only 83 likes. That's like half of you, maybe half of you. Run them up for me, man. Run them up. Run them up. All right, we got about 15 minutes to go. Those of you who jumped in late, here's what we landed on for this first game. These are all plus EV plays. They cannot tie. They cannot push, which is my preference. I don't want them to tie or push. So we took Melton for less than 8.5 points, O'Neal for more than 2.5 assists, Spencer Dinwiddie for more than 3.5 boards, Mikal Bridges over 2.5 assists, and Joel Embiid for more than 14.5 rebounds and assists. Now, this is a same game parlay, obviously. All of these come from that first game that tips off at 1:10 p.m. Eastern time. But feel free to take just 1 or 2 of these and mix them in with like some other entries. You don't have to play them exactly like I did. But these look like the top 5 plays that can't tie or push, that are plus EV and are projecting well on 3 different projection models, okay? You don't have to play them like this. It's up to you. However you want to play them, you play them your way. Maybe you just want to do a 2-pick. Maybe you want to take one of these picks, combine them with some of the other picks from the later games. It's up to you. Combine them with some baseball. I dropped a baseball video earlier. Hopefully you guys checked that out. Some of those lines already moved from today's MLB video. We had a big 25x last night on some pitcher fantasy score. All right. Wesley Winston coming through with a super chat. Appreciate that. He's asking about Cam Johnson at 4 rebounds. It looks like he's wanting to take the over on Cam Johnson, even though he is well aware that Cam Johnson could tie with exactly 4 rebounds. He ain't worried about that. He said, I'm going to take it anyway. Push, tie, be damned. I'm going to take it anyway. I hear you. when you open up his last 5 game logs, I mean, it's looking pretty juicy in here, right? Averaging 5.2 rebounds per game over the last 5. Of course, we don't want to just look at the last 5. That's a bad way to make decisions most of the time. So when you have access to a site like props.cash, you can go beyond the last 5. We could look at the last 10. We could look at the last 30. Props.cash makes all that possible. So if you're not using props.cash yet and you want to have a visual component, be able to see the game logs for all these guys, be able to see the hit rates for all these guys. They even have projections on props.cash now. Check it out. Code Curry, 25% off your first month of props.cash. Link down in the description below. Let's go take a look here at Mr. Cameron Johnson here at 4 rebounds, right? So we saw the last 5, and those were looking pretty sweet. I'm just going to dial this down on props.cash to 3.5 boards, and you can see he's covered 4 or more rebounds in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his last 10. Now, he did have a little bit of a dry spell where he only had 3. He's usually pretty good for a few boards, 3 being sort of the floor. You see a high of 7 in his last 10 games. We can even back this up a little bit further and look at like the last 30 if you want to. Some of these games may include games from when he was with Phoenix. I'm not sure what the dates are on these. They didn't show those, but you kind of get an idea, right? 3 up to 7. Some of these games he had 8 or 9 rebounds. Now he has played Philadelphia once, and that was back on February 11th, recording 7 rebounds in that game. Okay, so his line's 4 today. 7 boards the last time he played Philadelphia. I will tell you this, that as far as rankings go, 76ers rank 3rd in rebounds allowed, meaning they're giving up the 3rd fewest rebounds to opposing teams. There's only 2 teams in the league that are allowing fewer rebounds to opposing teams than the Sixers are. So this is not a great matchup, even though he did excel in that previous game from February 11th with 7 boards. You'd have to go back and you'd have to look and see who was healthy, who was active. Like, was Embiid in for Philly? That would be a big one. Was Claxton playing? You'd have to kind of dig in a little bit deeper. We won't do that just for time's sake, but I just want to raise that to your attention. So let's take a look here at some Cam Johnson projections on his rebounds. You guys are wondering probably, well, the hell with what you think. Let's see how the freaking prop projects. Okay. All right. 4.7. The line's 4. So he's at 4.7. The line's at 4. So 4 or more kind of looks like a good, first projection here at 4 or better. So let's go and check another projection. He's at 4. Here's a projection of 5.81. So that's a very healthy second projection, 4 or better, right? So far, 2 of these projections looking very scrumptious, very juicy on Cam Johnson here in these rebounds. I'll get you a third and final projection. 5.2 rebounds is the projection here. So it really seems like he could grab at least 4 boards today. So for me personally, my taste, I don't like playing picks that could tie, picks that could push. Not my jam. But in this case, I mean, as far as projections go, there's 3 really solid projections for Cameron Johnson. And then in case you're wondering what the optimal way to go here is, based on the odds on the sports books, it is to take the over on Cam Johnson at 4 boards. The Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer has him at 4, says take the over, about a 52.3% chance that he grabs at least 4 rebounds or possibly even more. So there you go, Mr. Wesley Winston. Hopefully that helps you out, buddy. All right. Got a couple of other super chats coming through. Like I said, I apologize. I'm not going to be able to get to everybody's question. Not going to be able to get to everybody's comment. That's where super chat is kind of like when you go to Disney, right? They sell those fast passes. Those fast passes that get you in front of everybody else in the line. Don't you just love those people who have fast passes? They just get to butt everybody. And you're like, hey, I've been waiting in line for an hour. What are you doing? Oh, they got a fast pass. Damn. That's kind of what Super Chat does for you, by the way. So I appreciate the support that you guys are offering through Super Chat. Definitely got to prioritize the Super Chats over everybody else, because you guys are reaching into your pockets and you're saying, here's a couple bucks, man. Answer this question for me. So, all right, I got you. Trade Boy Kells coming through with a super chat. Shout out to Trade Boy Kells. He says, what about Embiid over on dunks? I have not even looked. I have not even looked at the dunks board today. Let's go look at that one. But yeah, to summarize here, Cam Johnson for more than 4 boards. That looks like a mighty fine way to go. We did talk Embiid over rebounds and assists. If you're looking for one that we know is an optimal play, it's going to be a little bit harder for us to put any sort of research behind Joel Embiid in these dunks, y'all. There's not a projection that I know of for dunks. I don't even think a site that is stat heavy like Prop Stat Cash, I don't even think they have dunks in here. I don't even think they make it possible to research a dunk. I mean, they got points, rebounds, assists, PRA, etc. I don't see anything for dunks in here. Chat. This is where I gotta call out the chat. Chat, do you guys know of any way, any site, anything that any way that we can research dunks? Is there a site out there that shows dunks? Let me know. I'm trying to help our brother out here. Our guy, Trey Boy Kells. I'm trying to help Kells out here. Do y'all know of any sites out there where we can research dunks? Or is this just purely like you got to kind of go with your gut, a hunch? I've never seen a site out there, Mr. Kells, that offers any insights when it comes to how many dunks per game a guy has, how many projected dunks a guy might have, how many dunks a team is giving up to opposing teams. All right, so let's just put the stats and put the numbers aside for a second. Those of you who are watching live, talk to me, my friends. Do we think Joel Embiid dunks the ball 2 times or more today against the Brooklyn Nets? Or do we think he only dunks it 1 time or less? Just thinking about Embiid's game, right? I mean, we know he likes getting the ball on the low block. We know he's also going to get the ball on the high post, right? He likes to operate sort of in that mid-range game. He's good at drawing fouls, getting the free throw line. Once in a while, he might get himself a dunk. I don't know. Rocket Sauce saying Sixers fan here. Embiid will dunk twice for show. Roy says this is a casino pick. No doubt about it. Degenerate props. Absolutely Trill Fate. Exactly how I feel about it. A degenerate prop for sure. Rocket Sauce says he's taking Joel Embiid for at least 2 dunks. T-Bone saying Embiid's going to get 6 dunks. Hayes says this is darn near a coin flip type of situation for the process to dunk the ball at least twice. All right. Well, hey, Kells, I can't get a projection on dunks. I don't know of a site that even provides something like that. I can't even look up game logs for Joel Embiid and see how many times he's dunked. But a lot of people seem to think Joel Embiid's going to dunk the ball at least twice today. Maybe he catches a lob from Harden. You know what I mean? A little pick and roll lob situation, crams it on Nicholas Claxton's head a couple times. Hard to really put any sort of stats or numbers behind it. But hey, for the record, we're just gonna go with what the viewing audience here says. The consensus here says take the over. A lot of you guys believe in Joel Embiid getting at least 2 dunks today, so we're gonna go with that. All right, we'll call that a community wagon. We'll all be on the wagon. We'll all ride with it. Yeah, I know ESPN will like show when a dude dunks, like what type of basket it was, a mid-range jump shot, a 3-point make, a layup. But yep, it could be, there you go. Tay coming through. He's saying it could be a rebound and a putback or a pump fake blow by down the lane for a dunk. Hey, there's a lot of different ways it can happen, right? He's not going to be one of those guys that really gets out in transition, though, like a Tobias Harris at 0.5 dunks. I mean, I could see Harris getting a steal, fast break situation, running the wing with Harden leading the way, right? Dish to the little Tobias Harris, boom, quick dunk, you're over. Maybe Harris is the better play for a dunk. But I have not dabbled in any of these dunk picks since they've been introduced on PrizePicks yet. I mean, De'Aaron Fox for 1 dunk seems like a under to me, but I don't know. I don't know. They're crazy. They're crazy. Y'all be careful with those. Y'all be careful with those. All right, we had another super chat come through. No, El Maverick, StatMuse does not currently show any information regarding dunks. No, sir. Let's go to our next super chat. It's Baby Clay. Isn't that what they call Devin Booker? Baby Clay? Or they did call him that until he kind of came into his own. But Malcolm Brogdon over 14.5 points. Let's take a look at that one for you, Baby Clay. Let's refresh the optimizer here. Make sure we get all the latest odds pulled in from the sports books. If you're using this tool, you got to get real comfortable with hitting refresh early and often. Hit refresh as much as you can, my friends, so that you're always staying on top of the latest lines. Malcolm Brogdon's at 14.5 points today. The under looks like the more optimal way to go. I know you're saying over, but the under, according to the odds on the sports books, we got about a 51.6% chance that he scores 14 or fewer points. All right. So I know you're saying over, but you would be going against the grain, going against the odds in this case. So let's pull some projections on Malcolm Brogdon here real quick. He has been a bucket, though, coming off the bench for the Boston Celtics, but they will be completely healthy today. So maybe playing time is a little bit of a factor for him. We'll just have to see. This game is expected to blow out. So maybe in a blowout situation, Brogdon would see maybe some extra run off of the bench. Maybe they would sit guys like Smart, White, Brown, Tatum, and Brogdon would get a few extra minutes of run in a blowout scenario. Could be a thing. First projection, though, has him at 13.9 points, which is definitely less than 14.5, which again kind of goes in the opposite direction of the way that you wanted to play this, right? You wanted to take the over at 14.5. But this is why we do what we do. So we try to put you on the right side of a pick here. Here's a 14.5 line with a projection of 12.6. So the projection's not exactly favoring the over on Malcolm Brogdon. And last but not least, we'll get you a third projection. Trying to deliver the most value, the most bang for your buck here. Baby Clay, 13.8 points. Again, the line is 14.5. That's 3 projection sites that don't believe that Brogdon will score at least 15 tonight. They've all got him going under 14.5. So if you're going to play this, tread lightly. I would not put this in a power play. I would put this only in a flex entry. I guess that's one way you can approach it, because you are going very, very much going against the odds, against the grain, against the projections on this one. So I'm going to say stay away from it. May not want to take that one. Invisible. Invisible. Coming through with the super chat. He says, please check what I said about baseball. About baseball. Okay. Well, we were talking hoops. But you're looking at some fantasy scores for some of these baseball guys. Adley, Witt, is that Mountcastle over for their hitter fantasy score on baseball? Okay. Well, listen, for those of you who do play MLB, we're going to take a little bit of a detour because my guy left a super chat and I don't want to leave him hanging out in the cold, high and dry. All right. If you're playing MLB fantasy score and you're looking at hitters, you're going to want to make sure you're using DraftKings. DraftKings projections for hitters when it comes to MLB. Let me see if I can pull some projections up for you. I don't have any of that stuff readily available. I'm going to try and do it though. See if I can make it happen. We'll use Fantasy Labs for this little check-in. So you mentioned Mountcastle. We got Mountcastle projected for 8.6 fantasy. See where he's at here on PrizePicks. 7.5, so his line's 8.6. That's his projection. 8.6 projection on a line of 7.5 on PrizePicks. So there's the first one. Let's see. Message deleted by Stream Elements. Damn, what were I don't know why your message got deleted, Invisible. What happened? They deleted. I don't know why that got deleted, but I could still see it. Adley was the other one. Adley Rutschman. I would probably, I don't know if I would stack these, being that they're both Baltimore players. I'd probably just take the one that's got the more favorable projection of the two. But so far, Mountcastle looks like an over. Adley, you're asking about him, which way we should go. Again, this is just one projection model. It's Fantasy Labs. You guys can check other projection models like Number Fire if you want. Let's look at Adley Rutschman real quick. He's at 8.6 projected fantasy score on a line of 8.5. So I'd probably give the edge to Mountcastle, but both of these are, you know, projecting to go over. And then what was the other one? Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt's hitter fantasy score. Bobby Witt Jr., 7.5 fantasy score. Just checking a projection on him real quick, and then we'll get back to some NBA. Sorry for that. For those of you who don't give a about baseball, 8.48 is his fantasy score projection. So that would put him over 7.5. So out of these, I mean, the two that look the best or have the biggest projected differentials, it would be Ryan Mountcastle at 7.5 fantasy score, and then Bobby Witt, 7.5 fantasy score. These two. And then I'd put Rutschman, he'd probably be last based on his projection of just 8.6 on a line of 8.5. So Mountcastle, Witt, and then, you know, Rutschman. I'd probably just leave him off. Honestly, you just run yourself a little 2-pick power if you're really feeling both of those. But hopefully that helps you out. Invisible. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Guys, it's 1:05. We're reaching the 1 hour mark, a little bit after the 1 hour mark. Zion says, don't bet it, bro. It's too unpredictable. Baseball. Yeah. Baseball, especially hitter props, very hard to predict. I usually just try to stick to pitchers. We had some fantastic luck yesterday with fantasy score when it came to pitching props. Where's that entry at? Let me see here. This guy right here went for we went for 6 for 6 on this one, all pitcher fantasy score. I released a pitcher fantasy score video for MLB earlier today. Hopefully you guys caught that because I know some of the lines moved, but ended up going 6 for 6 last night, turning 20 into 500. These are the types of days that we live for, right? The moments we live for right here. So hopefully we do it again today in today's MLB video. But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, too many great plays still on the board. Absolutely. Peyton's asking, do live comments count for the giveaway? No, because I don't have a way of like grabbing names out of the live comment window. It's only for the comment section of the replay. So once I end today's show, you go to the replay of the video, go down in the comments and comment your favorite pick, prop, play of the day. Tell me how great you think this beard looks on me. Whatever you want to tell me. Ask me what I'm having for lunch. You know, I'm starting to get hungry. It's about that time for some lunch. But yeah, that's how you get qualified for this giveaway, like our guy Snoopaloop. So Snoopaloop, if you're watching, you were the big winner. 2-pick power play to win $100 on PrizePicks. If you guys want to get entered in and win like Snoopaloop, just be a subscriber, hit the like button. And once I end the show, go to the comment section, comment whatever you want to comment down there. But yeah, that's how that works, man. So it's 1:07. I don't want to keep you guys too long. Guys, it's a busy weekend. Lots of NBA going on. Obviously, lots of MLB going on. And I'm sure you guys also have lives outside of PrizePicks, as do I. So I'm going to get out of here. I've already posted cheat sheets for MLB and NBA to our Patreon. If I find any picks, guys, you know I'm going to be sending them out to our Discord Patreon members. Appreciate all the support. 20 bucks a month. You can get signed up for Patreon down in the description of today's video. Everything I got going on, in fact, down in the description of today's video. Appreciate all the support. Thanks for being here. 107 likes. You guys freaking rock. We'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.